All right. Hello, everybody. Hi. Usually I don't stream on these days. These are usually my off days. Uh, as you guys know, a couple of days ago, I did put out a community post, a poll that I wanted to tell you guys a lot about me, my struggles in life, my past, what brought me here today. And overwhelmingly, you guys were really supportive with that. And then this morning, my typical mornings go like this. I get up and, I make myself a cup of coffee. I put on some Nightwish reactions, meeting all kinds of awesome new people. And then I scroll through my comments. And, I was propelled to come on YouTube and discuss some pretty colorful parts of my past. Not so pretty, some pretty funny, but mostly some pretty dark stuff, right? And you guys, I put that poll out and you guys were so overwhelmingly supportive. I want to say thank you for participating in that if you had. Also, so I'm scrolling through my comments section today and there were two women actually, two different videos, and it was like a beacon, like a light bulb went off. Two women divulged their recovery stories with me. Miraculously, both of them had 5 years of sobriety off of the same substance that I was using, right? Hi, Tori. Hi, everybody. And so, Kaylee, hi, hon. And so, it really was like, dude, people open up to me, and how could I use this channel, more for just, we love the music reactions. We're going to keep those going. Yes. But I want to do more to help people because I know that a lot of people, need some kind of one-on-one, either like a counseling, but they can't afford it. They don't know where to look for it, or they don't believe any kind of therapist anyways, that basically looked in a book and was like, oh, addiction is here, this is what it is. No, a lot of people do relate to somebody who's been there, who's done that. And the stars are all aligned right now. The universe is speaking to me and I can't ignore it anymore. I've been wanting to do this series for a really long time, and now it's gonna get kicked off underway. It's a recovery series that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be featuring the normal people, the public, you guys. Anybody who has over 2 years of sobriety, I would like to hear your story. And show people out there, because there's millions of people in recovery, but there's still millions of people out there that are struggling. And I look at myself in the mirror every day and I see how far I've come in life. And if I could show people that I wasn't once like just Jen Reacts on YouTube with 104,000+ subscribers. No, I was this girl from suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, who had a raging drug problem, and I was one of the lowest forms of scum that you could ever meet. If I could show somebody that, I'm hoping like hell I can help somebody. So I wanted to start a recovery series, and so I'm talking to a couple people, and I got a hold of a lady today. She actually messaged me back on Instagram, and we're getting the wheels in motion. So we're gonna be starting a series, you guys, a once a week series on recovery. I want to share stories of recovery. So if you or somebody that's got over them 2 years plus of sobriety, please reach out to me on Instagram and PM me. I'd love to hear your story. If you're not camera shy, I think that would be a beautiful thing to share with people, just to give them hope. That is a huge word, is hope. You would be surprised how many times that I wished I was strong enough, like the person leading the meeting in the front of the podium, speaking about how, oh my God, I've been sober for 5 years and I have A, B, and C back and blah, 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 And I sat there, I remember just like envious, like, well, damn, I hope that would be me one day. And look at where we're at today. So, all right. So here's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. First of all, um, oh, good morning, Jen. Thanks a lot for your retweet and Twitter. Oh, nice. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So that's a big announcement. You guys, a recovery series, 1 day a week. It's 1 day a week. I don't know how many views it's going to get. I don't really care about that. What I care about is spreading a word of inspiration, and hopefully somebody sees it and they're like, oh my God, because I know for a fact if I do music reactions, they're going to see it. But this is, I'm hoping somebody's out there with a keyboard searching how to stay clean, how to get clean. Is there any stories of hope? It's a gamble, but it's one that I'm willing to take to help at least one person. I just want to see one person succeed. That's it. That's all I want. So the last video I posted with my recovery series, I got a lot of comments, really good comments. I don't believe any negative ones, but I got a lot of feedback on, I wish this was live. So I'm looking at it and I'm going, were those call for helps that I missed? So I figure, you know what? Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Double T. Double T Devil Overlord did something for me, you guys, that I will never forget. Not only has he been here since before a lot of tragic shit happened to me, but this man went above and beyond to make sure that my idol, the person, like the singer, my favorite singer, shouted me out, and I can never repay him for that with enough thank yous. But I do have this for him, and I need to mail it to you because I've had the suicide silence sticker forever for you, Thomas. I got that for you. So I didn't post a live video the last time, and you know what, you guys, it was really hard for me to sit down and record it and get that all out, and then boop, press the send button, right? So it was really hard for me, but with the feedback that I did get, it's very just overwhelmingly supportive. All of you guys are so amazing. I've dealt with a lot of judgment in my past, and I feel absolutely none from you guys, and I think you guys are the greatest things ever. Please give yourselves a pat on the back for that, because not everybody can say that, hey, I didn't judge somebody today. I'm even guilty of that. I watch stuff on YouTube and I'm like, oh my Lord, but so to go live, I'm like, okay, good. I got people here with me. So if you need if you need me to see your comment, please highlight my name, hit the @ button, the A with the cool circle, hit @ and then just Jen, like Steve or Mike, I'm sorry, like Mike just did. Hi, Christina. Hi, hun. So if you need to get my attention, please do. But I want to talk to you guys about some pretty dark stuff. And I want to do this kind of series because when I do with other people, because that's the big announcement, other people are going to be joining me, sharing their recovery story. And I know you guys will all be supportive. I don't know if we're going to live stream it or not. I have to see how comfortable somebody is with doing it live and whatnot. But love you too. You guys, please say happy birthday to Maggie. Please. She is like the best thing ever. One of the sweetest, most humble people you'd ever meet. And I am really blessed to have all of you guys. Please, like all of you guys. Every one of you guys are just so amazing in your own right. More do Black Round Baba Yaga, motherfucker. Baba Yaga. Oh, that's what me and him just do. It's just never going to change. It's just, that's our friendship. So, no, I'm not pregnant. No. Ever, no. No, I can't have babies anymore, thank God. I got 2, and that's it. I'm done. No. Okay. So, dark times, right? You guys know, if you're in my live streams a lot, I talk about prison a lot. I talk about a lot of stuff, but there's things that I don't get to tell you guys. The experiences that what basically, the really dirty, like, not dirty, but like really like dark things that happened to me in my life, that I look back at it now and I'm like, boy, that's fucked up. That's really fucked up. So a lot of this topic here tonight is going to be parenting. a parenting while being addicted, right? And what piqued my interest in talking about this was a couple of things, actually. I did a 5 finger death punch, wrong side of heaven video, and it reminded me of my dad and all of the great comments that I got from my dad, and people just being so amazing, right? And it just triggered a lot of memories for me. And I was watching a video on YouTube today. In fact, I'm going to show you which one it was. It's absolutely nothing pretty. I'm just going to give you I'm just going to give you a gist of it real quick. I'm not going to show you the video because I don't want to embarrass people. I don't know why. I don't. There was a mother that came out of her house and she was just wasted, like drug addicted. You could see the scars everywhere. The whole family was drug addicts, and they lifelong drug addicts in Cincinnati, Ohio. And it was like some Cincinnati like dash cam channel or something. And so it reminded me, number one, like, how could you do drugs with your child? How could you do that? And that's the first thing that popped into my mind. And the second thing that popped into my mind was my dad. Now, my father, okay, if you guys don't know, if you're new here, he did 2 tours in Vietnam. My mom and him met, and they got married right away because my mom got pregnant right away and had 1 kid right after another, like my sister and my brother. And I was a couple years later. I was 4 years after my brother, 5 after my sister. Like, she got pregnant like a week after she had my sister with my brother. And then 4 years later I came, so I'm the baby of the family. Well, when I was 4 years old, my parents divorced. And one day my dad was there, and the next he wasn't. And I remember him always yelling and them fighting, and it was kind of like, whoa. But like before then, I really didn't have any like memory of my dad. I had memories of going to my grandpa's house, my grandma and grandpa's house, his parents. My grandpa was his stepfather, but raised my dad. I don't ever know what happened to my grandpa and my grandma. My grandpa, who was my biological grandfather. I only know George, which was my dad's stepfather since I was a baby. I don't know what happened to my grandpa, my real grandpa. I don't know. So 4 years old, he leaves, and I don't remember my mom bad talking him whatsoever. I only remember throughout the years him coming in and going, just popping in and going. Like, he's just like, hi, I'm here. And then the next he's gone. Now, some rather tragic stuff happened to me when I was 5 years old. A year after my father left, there was a serial sexual predator that lived 2 doors down. And guys, this is really fucked up because the guy's son who groomed me and touched me first is still living, and he's still in the same state as I am. And he's not been punished at all for his crimes. And there were some pretty horrific things that he did to me when I was a baby. I was 5. And his father followed suit because I didn't tell. I was so scared, but they waited until my dad left. And he would target single women. He would send his oldest boy in to groom these children to see if they would talk. And if they didn't, the dad moved in. But I found out the dad was, molesting his own kids and, his stepdaughter from when she was a baby. It was really messed up. And I don't want to hear any goddamn thing about, child molesters. I don't want to hear no sympathy from nobody because they know what the hell they're doing, right? So that happened when I was 5, and I remember my dad popped in while this was happening, not during the act. I really wish he would have been there because in that time you're so alone and you just want your dad to save you from that, right? But he had came over with my mother and me and my perpetrator sitting at the dining room table. And so I was right here in this chair. Say I'm looking at you guys. You guys are in the chair in front of me. Okay, that was my perpetrator. My daddy was over here. My mommy was over here. So my mom was sitting next to the perpetrator, and my mom, he kind of gravitated towards single women with children and befriended them and tried to, hook up with them. And my father was sitting next to me. Well, I wanted to tell my daddy so bad. I wanted to tell him, like, Daddy, he's hurting me. But I remember looking at this guy, and he had those aviator glasses from the 80s, right? And he was just giving me the death glare. Like, he told me if I told, he would kill my mother. And I believed him. I believed every word that he had to say. And so my daddy was sitting next to me, and I wanted to tell him so bad, because my father, let me tell you a little about my dad. He was cock diesel. That man had muscles on top of muscles and didn't have to work out a day in his life. And that's how I know that's where I get my physique from, right? Is my dad. If I work out a little bit, I'm going to buff up pretty quick, and as did he. He was just, he had a very amazing physique. So I'm sitting at this table, and I can't say anything. The words are there, but they won't come out of my mouth, right? So Christmas happens, and we go to my grandparents' house. My mom and my dad are split up. This shit went on with me, for 3 years. I didn't say anything, but it didn't go on for 3 years because I fought back, and he never tried it again. But then slowly after that, him and my mother got into a physical brawl inside of our driveway. And so he tried calling the police on my mom, but 3 years later, is when I told the police, and I said, but I clammed up because they came at me with male detectives, and I wasn't comfortable. I was scared. I was a little girl. And the only thing I knew was to just tell my mom and my grandma, which I did. And he never was prosecuted for the crimes that he did to me, but we'll get into that another day. So my father, he gets with some lady named Angie. Angie was her name. Her daughter's name was Julie, and the other one was Sherry. Okay, so he's playing daddy to this other woman's children. They're shacked up together, and I'm looking at this. They have everything they want: music lessons, violins, Barbie house, everything. We had Christmas at my grandparents' house. Him and his girlfriend bought me, my brother, and my sister snow shovels for Christmas. Snow shovels for Christmas. My grandmother and grandfather, bless their hearts, they're since passed, but they, my grandmother sent my grandfather out to go get Christmas presents. He'd come back. She said, not enough, go. And my grandfather and my grandmother just made the best of it. My grandmother would pay my dad's child support for him and everything when he would fall behind. But then it even got to be too much for her. My mom said, quit paying it. Ruth, you don't have to do that. It's his responsibility. He's got to pay it. So my dad disappeared. When he would come into my life and disappear, he would call me and say, I'm going to come get you in 7 days. So a little girl, I'm writing tally marks on my wall. Well, 1 day down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then 9. And he never come. So, and I was 12 years old. Okay, I was 12 years old now, and we had moved to a nicer suburb. My mother had met my amazing stepfather, and he moved us from trouble to where we grew up and graduated and everything. We had a good life here. He did an amazing job. He's an amazing stepfather. And 12 years old, my mom tracks him down, and he says, I want to spend the weekend with my daughter. And, my brother and sister had already given me the Little King's beers, and I got really drunk my first time, and I threw up all over the place in Dunkin' Donuts and everything. So my brother and sister must have not wanted to go, because I was the only one that went. And so I remember my father, my mommy dropping me off at my dad's house, and it was a shack. It was like, what the fuck is this? I was so just not comfortable. So he's like, Jennifer, we're going to go to the store. We're going to go get some stuff. So we're going to go to a convenience store. I'm 12, mind you guys. But I'm not innocent, believe me, because I firmly believe that the sexual abuse that I had to endure opened the floodgates for addiction and for me to not want to feel and to deal with it, to suppress that. And we go to the convenience store. Oh, thank you so much, Michael. Oh, honey. It's okay. It's made me who I am today, guys. Just remember this. This is a disclaimer. Whatever I'm going to tell you, it's made me who I am today. So please just be there. As that's all I can say. Thank you, guys. But anyhow, so we go to the store. My dad, he knows I smoke, right? I smoke cigarettes. Yes, I did. I had an older brother and sister. I was 12 years old. I was stealing my stepdad's cigarettes. I was not a little angel anymore. I really wasn't. I smoked and I swore, and I was just I had a rough exterior because I was so traumatized as a child. I was a little kid, you guys. I'm 5'1" now, and when I was that young, I was really little. I was about my 3-year-old's height right now. Now I'm just maybe a little taller than that. But so my father, we go to the store and he goes, what kind of cigarettes do you smoke, Jennifer? And I'm like, I don't smoke, Dad. He's like, bullshit. What kind of cigarettes do you smoke? And he goes, if you don't tell me, I'm just going to buy you menthols. I was like, ew, no, menthol's gross. Because he smoked Salem menthol cigarettes. And I says, Camel Lights. And he goes, what do you want to drink? And I picked up this Kool-Aid. And I was like, I'll take some Kool-Aid, Dad. He goes, oh, no. So he goes, no, wrong section. So he takes me to the liquor section. And I find these pink, I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't know. I've never bought alcohol before. And I can almost understand, like, did the clerk hear this? Any of it? Did it not raise an eyebrow at all? So I picked the pink little down-home punches, the Jack Daniels. They're a little 4-pack, the little bottles like that. Well, so he bought me alcohol and cigarettes. I'm 12 years old, you guys. We go back to his house. He breaks out a pound of weed, a big bag of weed, about this big. I never smoked weed before, so I was like, so I smoked some weed and I drank that liquor, and I didn't know it was Jack Daniels, you guys. I had no idea. None whatsoever. So those little down-home punches went down really easy. And boy, did I pay for it. I threw up profusely. And then I seen him chopping up white powder. I did not partake in that, though. That I was only 12. I indulged in weed with my father, alcohol, and of course cigarettes at 12. So fast forward, I'm 16. My dad again disappears. Wouldn't you know? So my dad disappears, and my teacher of all people, I went to school half a day and worked the other. I did this since I was 14 years old, and when I was 16, I was in the high school, and my teacher, Mr. Clemens, rest in peace, Randy Clemens, he was the sweetest thing ever, like a father figure, true father figure to me. I won Student of the Year, you guys. I had a tough childhood with school and ADHD or ADD. It was actually ADD, and I had to be put on medications and stuff like that. But my teacher had seen the potential in me and seen how hurt I was by my father's absence. So he tracked him down for me. Yeah, he tracked my father down for me. It was bananas. So I find out my father is living in Cleveland now. And not in the nice parts of Cleveland either. He's still a tow truck driver. He's a mess. But I seen my dad, and I always loved him. I always looked at him like he's my hero. I don't care if he was in my life 3 days out of the whole time. I love him. He's my dad. And I remember looking at him and just hugging him and just wanting him not to ever let go of me. And I took it really personally when he did. It was like he wanted to be a dad. He told me he wanted to be a dad, but then he just left. And it was like, so I now see a lot that my abandonment issues come from my father. And fuck anybody who does that to you, by the way. If they abandon you, and especially in your time of need, go fuck them, because they ain't worth a shit. Okay, so I go see my father in Cleveland. Probably not a good idea. But I wanted to be by my dad so bad. So bad. Remember how I told you he busted out cocaine? Well, the last time I didn't do it. But this time I did. And I told my brother and my sister, guys, oh my God, Dad's got this stuff called cocaine. And I'm like, I knew what cocaine was because I went through DARE, which is a program in like 5th grade that tells you don't do drugs. That don't work. By the way, it doesn't work. I think that the schools need people like me to go in there and say, do you want to go to prison? Do you want to almost die 6 or 7 times? Do you want to lose everything? Do you want to sleep on the floor throwing up? No, you don't. But anyhow, I did it. I did it with him. And we kicked it, you guys. I hung out with my dad as much as I could. And that lasted about a year. And that was the longest stretch I had with my dad. And even though, he was doing drugs with me, at least I still had him with me. I never once thought of it. Now I do. But back then, I never once thought of it as, hey, you're doing drugs with your dad. That's not okay. I didn't give a shit. I had my dad with me. What I've always wanted for years. That's all I wanted was my daddy. So I told my brother, my sister, and of course they were like, let's party. So we all started partying together. And again, me and my brother and sister, now we're getting like used to doing the cocaine every time we can get it up our nose, right? And he leaves again. About a year later, he leaves again. And I don't see my dad from 17 until after my son Matthew was born. I brought my father, his stepfather, my grandpa George, when Matthew, my son, my firstborn, was born. 3 days after that, my grandpa passed away. And my grandpa, if you ever know that there is a singer, Spike Jones, and he makes these silly noises, and he would put these albums on for me all the time. My grandfather was a raging alcoholic, and I sipped beer the first time when I was 4, when it was off the foam of his beer, and I would drink more and more and more. But he was the silliest man ever. He would scratch me with his whiskers. He was more like a father figure to me than anybody had been in my life before my mom married my stepfather. And, yeah, and Tori, yeah. And, so 3 days after my son Matt was born, my grandfather George died. And he died all by himself. He fell and he had a heart attack, but he hit his head in the kitchen and nobody found him for about 3 days. So we had to track my father down. This time it wasn't that easy, but we did it. He was in California with my Aunt Patty and my cousin Glennie. And boy, life was not treating him good. So my dad was executor of my grandparents' will. My grandfather had a will and named him executor of all people, and my mother threatened him. She says, if you don't sign this house over to me and my kids, well, to the kids, not to me, to the kids, my brother, my sister, and I'm going after you for child support because you owe me $150,000. So we had to fly my dad here. Oh. Do you remember when I told you guys just a few moments ago how I felt like as soon as I seen my dad, I just wanted to hold him and just feel his arms around me and just have him here? Well, California wasn't treating him right at all. He became addicted to methamphetamine, to crystal meth. And when he stepped off that plane, when this was back in 2003, you could still go inside the airport to pick up your loved ones. And I looked at, I didn't recognize him at first. His face was sunken in, his eyes were sunken in. He was a very handsome man, you guys. He had these beautiful hazel eyes that I have, the same color eyes as my dad. He had this beautiful blonde hair, strawberry blonde, and he was muscular and he had this beautifully chiseled jaw. But standing in front of me was this man with stringy hair, greasy, stringy hair, unshaved, big beard, but cheeks hollowed in, no teeth, like one or two. And I was praying that nobody would hear him say that I was his daughter. I was like, please, God, don't let him say hi, kids, or anything, because I didn't want people to know that he was my dad. I was ashamed for the first time in my life. And I still didn't put the correlation together. Like, this man did drugs with you. This man is not a good man. He's not. I still didn't put that correlation. So, you know, wills, they take a while, right? And he was homeless, living on a beach. So I gave him a place. I'd bought my own house, and I brought him to stay with me, my son Matthew, and Matthew's father. Well, Matthew's father was extremely physically abusive and every kind of abuse you can imagine. I'm not going to get into those details today because I would take me about 3 years to describe all of what he put me through. But I figured, like, there was, when I had Matthew, when I got pregnant with Matthew, there was no drugs at all. I was not doing anything. I ain't partying. No. So I had this span where I was really clean, you know, and there was no shenanigans going around. But my son's father was very abusive, and I was like, my dad was on the couch and he was smacking me around, and I thought, oh my God, my dad's gonna whoop his ass, you know. My dad got cleaned up there too for a while because he was staying with me. I was feeding him, and he became to get out of that addiction. And my dad stood up and said, don't you ever put your hands on my daughter again. And I thought, oh, this is it. He's gonna fuck him up, because my dad did 2 tours in Vietnam. He's not a pussy. But my son's father yeah, it was like sad to watch my dad sit down and watch him confront my father sit down like a dog. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? You're supposed to kick his ass, Dad. And he didn't do it. He didn't do it. And so we get the will signed over to us kids, the home, and we sell my grandparents' home that my dad was a kid. He grew up in that house. And we each got 50 grand. And, you know, I did put it down on the house that I bought and whatnot. I promised the title company, I'm getting money from a will, from an inheritance. So please, we're going to put 40 grand down on it. The other 10 grand, I went to Mexico and stuff, whatever. And so after that, my dad disappeared for, you know, I think about another year. But then he drove himself back to California. We sent him back. We sent him back on the plane. We're like, get the fuck out of here. We sent him back on the airplane. And then about a year and a half later, he drove back because I got, you know, rid of my son's father. I had put a restraining order on him before all the abuse. It was horrendous. And that's a story for another day. I don't think I should ever share that one. It's pretty fucking brutal. It's 7 long years of it, at least 7 long years of torture and abuse, and nobody should hear that. And I don't want to relive it either. So he comes back, and I'm about how old am I by now? About 2 years had passed. About a year and a half, 2 years since he left had passed. I'm now 26 years old, right? And my abuser's gone. So it's like, that's when my addiction took off, you guys. That's when I was like, balls to the walls. I'm doing whatever I can, because I was literally imprisoned for 7 years with a very abusive man. So I just went hog wild. It was like I just had gotten out of prison. That was like a first prison stay for me. So my dad comes back to live with me, and we start partying up again. And we're doing, of course, blow at start. We start off with coke because I was dating a really, really, really awesome coke dealer. He was the most awesome person that I ever met. It was instant love. I fell in love with him, and a couple of months ago, he hung himself, and I loved that man. I just couldn't be with him. We were volatile. We had an 8-month relationship. It was very volatile. So we part. I dated a drug dealer, and we were doing cocaine, and then that progressed. My dad was like, "Can we score some meth?" And I'm like, "I don't know, probably." And so I made a couple phone calls, and of course, that's when the all of a sudden the meth kind of exploded in Ohio. It was like everywhere, and I knew cooks and all of that, and it was a crazy ride. And so I basically got off the cocaine by doing methamphetamines with my father, and then I advanced to heroin. But my father, you see, had been a heroin addict in Vietnam. So he kind of already had the taste of what opiate addiction was, and he was a speed person. He liked the high of a speed, and I'm more, I liked everything at that point. But when I first touched heroin, I was in love. It made me feel nothing. I was just done with feelings. I put them on the back burner. So my dad's living with me again. My house burns down, and so we're in an apartment, and I'm smoking meth with my dad, and then I got some heroin, and me and my dad start injecting it. And like, I'm sitting at the kitchen table with my father. We both have syringes out, and we're shooting up next to each other. And I did my absolute best to hide that from my son. A lot of that time is when I did send him to his grandparents' house during the weekends, his dad's stepparents, stepdad and mother, and he went to school during the day. And I did my best to hide that from him, but kids can always tell when you're off. I didn't have any paraphernalia laying around. I'm not trying to make excuses for my behaviors, because that's the farthest thing that you're ever going to get from me is excuses. And so my son, they catch on that something's wrong with you. And my son is a very intelligent human being. He is not stupid. He can read people like I can. And he's got that inept ability to read people. And he was just not number one, even when I was using drugs. He was not. So I'm looking at my dad, and we have progressed from when I was 12 years old. I mean, never mind the beers that he would let me sip when I was like a little kid. But when I'm 12, we start drinking and smoking weed and smoking cigarettes together. Then we graduate to cocaine, and then meth, and then heroin. My dad did heroin a little bit. He threw up everywhere, and he goes, "I don't want this shit." But then something in my father clicked, and he got sober. And he moved away from me. My dad left me again, and he moved about 45 minutes away from me. He got his shit together. He got a job. I would call my dad. I was strung out. "Daniel, thank you. Thank you so much." I would call my father, and I would say, "Dad, I need some money." And I would guilt trip him, like, "You've never been there, Dad. I need you now." And so I would go to his house, and he would give me whatever. "What do you want, babe?" I said, I'm like, "I don't know." He goes, "Throw me a number, Jennifer." I'm like, $200. He's like, here's 300. Don't kill yourself. And eventually he met a lady and moved in with her. She would happen to have been one of the neighbors, actually. And he got into this, the AA really big, right? I caught him in a lie, though. He said he had been sober like all of these, like I think 2 years or something. And I'm like, "Dad, it's only been like 8 fucking months. You're lying." And oh boy, I got the third degree for calling him out and screamed at and demeaned and all kinds of shit that he probably shouldn't say to his daughter, you know. And so of course I go to spend the weekend over there. They want me over there for some odd reason, intervention, basically. And the girlfriend finds syringes in. I put them in a tampon box, and I wake up and they're gone. She took all of my paraphernalia, but of course I had my stuff on me because back then it wasn't fentanyl laced, but I still kept it away from my son's reach. I didn't want him to ever get a hold of that stuff, right? So I get into it with my dad and into her with her, and I, say whatever is on my mind, and I basically am told to get the F out of there. So I did. I obliged, and I left. And a couple months goes by, and what's so messed up here is that I was prescribed medications, you guys. And for ADD, I've been prescribed, the Adderalls and the Ritalins and stuff since I was a child. Okay? And we would barter with one another. Like if she would want to buy some from me and I would sell her some, right? The amphetamines especially. I didn't know that him and her had a addiction to both speed, right? She only told me she was an alcoholic. And so about a month or so later, I hear my dad's motorcycle. And once you know your father's Harley Davidson, you don't forget the sound. So I hear the bike coming down the street and I'm going, oh, fuck, what is going on here? I knew because my mom showed up, my stepdad showed up, my dad and his girlfriend showed up. And I'm going, oh, this is rich. They were staging an intervention on me. My dad says, we're going to take you out to Lorraine. You're going to stay at this sober living house. He's going to detox you and you're going to be fine. Because I was like, I ain't going without detoxing because I know what detox is. I know what withdrawal is. It was terrible. It was terrible. I was only about 2 years into my addiction at this point, you guys. And I was like, even though I knew what was ahead of me, I didn't want to get clean. I wasn't ready to. So I get taken to this sober living house and this guy he's a creeper. He's a creeper. So I tell my dad that the guy had me sitting on his lap and he checked my body for track marks. He made me strip down to my underwear and my socks. And he made me show him where my track marks were. This guy was just running a sober living house. Like, it was not licensed. It was shady. So my dad found out and all of his biker friends came and rescued me from that place. And forever he felt really bad for putting me in that shitty situation and not being able to help me. Again, with a creeper. And boy, did I exploit the hell out of that. He didn't touch me, the guy, but he sure gave off like molester vibes. And what he did was not right by any stretch of any means. It was absolutely wrong. And they get me out of there. And when I get back home, I go in my cabinet. And wouldn't you know it, my medications are short. And I'm like, and see, that's the one thing, like, until I started getting prescribed benzodiazepines, I really didn't abuse medications at all. It wasn't like, I liked the illegal stuff. The legal stuff that I'm allowed to have, I was like, I'm going to follow this to the doctor's orders, right? But, when my opiate addiction progressed, I started chewing up those Klonopins, the benzodiazepines like Xanax, because they were minty and they made me feel really messed up. And when you're using for so long, you build something called a tolerance, and you need more. That's how a lot of addicts die. They need more. And then they introduce another substance, and benzodiazepine and opiate, it's deadly. And I'm very surprised. The times I overdosed, I'm lucky to be here. So, my dad and his girlfriend eventually moved. I went to prison, you guys. This is fast forwarding a couple more years. I went to prison, but I'm sober, right? I got sober about 13 days before I had to go to prison. And while I'm in prison, about a year and a half in, I write my father. And and I didn't know he moved to California again. So I sent him a letter explaining, hey, it's your baby girl. I'm sober, you know. And with the prison mail, it takes a long time. And about a month or two, I don't know how long it was, it seemed like an eternity. It came back and it said, not at this address. And I was like, well, that fucking sucks. So when I got out of prison and stuff like that, me and my sister, I was already, I had a baby, and I was in another fucking abusive relationship, and me and my sister had plans to go see him. And so she's like, I told her, listen, I sent a letter to his house in Sheffield Lake, and it came back. I don't know where he's at. And she goes, well, let's try California again. So I Google my dad's name. And this was in 2018. Was it 2018? It was 2018. It was right after my son Roman was born. I think Roman was about 6 months old, maybe. Maybe I think it was like October, like around my dad's birthday, actually. And I Google my dad's name. And I call my sister back and I say, we're not going to California. She goes, why? I said, because there's an obituary on Google. I clicked on it and I called them because my dad's middle name was spelled wrong and his birthday was wrong. So I called the funeral home and she goes, oh, no, that's not your dad. And I says, are you sure? Because, you know, there's not a lot of people named that, and maybe you guys just got his name wrong. The girlfriend didn't even know how to spell the name wrong. You've been with him all these years. You didn't even know his birthday. But then, like, I told, what did he look like? And I told her what he looked like. And I'm like, his name was Wolf Bob. And she goes, oh, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but that was your dad. And I found out my dad had died on Google. Like, this bitch had my phone number. She had my address. She had my mother's phone number. You could have called any three of us kids and told us that our father, he died of cancer, bladder cancer, and I firmly believe that Agent Orange from Vietnam had did him in. So I found out via Google that my father passed away. And for years, I've been promised those ashes of my father, and I haven't gotten them yet. I think it's when she's drunk, she tells me she's going to give them to me. I don't know. I've since deleted Facebook, so I don't know if she's trying to contact me or not. So I can honestly look at my child, both of them, my children. And I hopefully now you guys can see why I'm the way I am with my kids. I'm very involved in their life, nor will I ever turn my back on them, nor will I ever do a drug with my kids. I will never abandon them. And, you know, what we have to endure definitely does make us stronger human beings. And because we human beings, is it torture? Is it emotionally taxing? Yeah, life is. But when we go through those really traumatic, scenarios in our life, you tend to build up resiliency in a strong outer shell, like a wall. And you can either be one of those people that continues that cycle, or you can be one of those people that says, I'm breaking that cycle, like I did. And I absolutely refuse to allow any of my kids to ever, ever do that. I would never do that with my kids. My eyelash is falling off again. Um, well, I'm going to have to, hold on a second, you guys. I gotta do this. Somebody just, usually I give people like one opportunity, but like when somebody's coming on and saying all kinds of like has a fucked up screen name and is saying all kinds of weird shit, like I'm gonna block you. Sorry, not sorry. But I want to stress this, you guys. Like, look, some people that you're looking at while you're watching your YouTube reactions out there or whatever you may be looking at, everybody that you look at, no matter who they are, has a past. They've been through some shit in their life. But not many people have the courage to speak up about it and speak out against, or speak up and say, hey, listen, I've been through this, but I'm okay today. I have more strength in my body than I ever have. And or you're gonna get those people that they'll not break that cycle, they'll continue it. Like I could have went to one of two ways. I could have went the right path, or I could chose the left path and did drugs with my kid and not give a shit or giving him up. Prison taught me a lot. It taught me a lot, and it changed me for the better. Did it suck? Fuck yeah, it did. It sucked. Losing my dad and all of that, yeah, that sucked. But was he ever really a dad? I question that now. But I can honestly say that it was a valuable lesson. And it was a good lesson for the good. Because like hell would I ever be like him. All right. It is what it is. Yeah. So I want to say thank you guys very much. What do you guys think about me bringing other people on and sharing? Is that something that you guys would like to see? Or do you want me to just continue telling my story? I really want to help other people though, and I really want to share stories of inspiration that will give, because I could tell you guys all day all the stories that I've went through, but to actually hear, I love this. I love to be able to sit and talk to people that actually have been there, done that, and have beat that demon. And a lot of people I know that, especially those that are in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, you guys follow that book to the T. And that's okay. It may work for you, but it may not work for somebody else. And what worked for me definitely probably might not work for somebody else either. But what I'm saying is a lot of the people in Alcoholics Anonymous will say I'm recovering alcoholic. I haven't had a drink in 50 years, but I'm still a recovering alcoholic. And that's fine. Do you. But I'm not the type that is going to bash somebody and say, this is my way. No, that's your way. I respect yours, respect mine. I say I'm recovered because it's been 7 fucking years. 7 years. And then some. 2,636 days today. Yeah. I'm recovered. Because nothing in the world will ever, 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 ever bring me back there. No one or nothing. I think that we're all put through these horrible things in our lives as a test to see how strong of people we are. All right, you guys. I really thank you guys, and I want to tell you guys, I was a bottom feeder. I lied. I cheated. I didn't cheat. That was one thing I didn't do. I had really good morals, I guess. I sold my ass, though. I sure did. I sold my ass for drugs. Yeah, for drug money. I sure did. I stole from my mom and whoever I could. Well, mainly my parents because I knew they wouldn't call the cops on me. I didn't steal from stores because I knew there was a chance of getting caught. But, you know, when you are in the depths of despair and addiction, you are going to do whatever it takes not to get sick. And your morality is going to go out the window. Your conscience is going to go out the window. Your dignity is gone. Matthew, right? Thank you. I had to change my phone number. I don't know if you guys have been anybody's trying to get a hold of me or not. My phone number got changed. I'm sorry. I was getting a lot of, just a lot happened at once. So I just had to, I got a new number. It's a, private number. So I have Instagram, I have Patreon, but when I'm home, I have learned this, you guys, I really do need to spend time with my kids and not be on my damn phone so much because I really am like that type of person that if you comment on one of my videos and I skim these comments to see if there are anybody in need. And it's so crazy because when we're live, when people need us, they come here. They come here because they know we got them. And I posted a picture on my community post looking down with my hand out. If I could help you guys in any way, lift you up, I'm going to do that. All I want to know is that people got helped. That's all. Because I'll tell you what, this shit ain't no joke. And before you judge an addict, think about it. What could have went wrong in their life? How poorly were they treated to where they didn't want to feel that anymore? I'm telling you guys, sexual abuse, it makes up for a lot of people that are in addiction. If you look at the statistics, it's sickening. Like upwards in the 90th percentile of all addicts have been sexually abused at one point or another. And I'm not talking after they became drug addicts. Oh no. Children. So you have to, an addict is a typical human being, only they have an affliction right now. They have a disease of the mind, in the body, and of the soul. Because when I was using, guys, I didn't care about anything. I was apathetic Jen. I did not care. I didn't have a care in the world. The only thing I cared about was getting my drugs. Then we could talk. I was a nasty human being, you guys. And I'm not afraid to admit that. Because it takes a real stand-up person to look at themselves and tell you, look, I used to do this shit. But thankfully I seen it. And I seen it myself that I didn't want to do that no more. It takes a real person like that to stand up and admit that. And I promise you guys, I will never not be real with you guys. I promise you that. 1000%. As real as it gets. No, my stories are not going to always be funny or pretty. They're not. Because life is not all fun and games. It's not all pretty and sunshines and rainbows and unicorns and sparkly things. No, it's not. It's full of very, very dark, traumatic things. And if you're anything like I am, I have post-traumatic stress. I was actually diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. Where nowadays, some pretty horrific shit happened to me after I got sober too, you guys. And the only thing that stuck in my mind was that That person wants me to do that again. They want me at my lowest. They don't want me to succeed. So don't you dare fucking do it, Jennifer. It ain't worth it. Your kids are the best thing ever. And I can honestly say this, you guys. What I lost during my addiction, material shit. The dignity you could get back. The self-confidence you can get back. That trust, though, that's going to take years to get back. Years. So if you violated somebody's trust, man, they just making you work for it. That's all. You know, and I gained back and then some. You know, I'm not proud of some of the things that I've done, or that the fact that I've done time in prison. I am not proud of that. That is not a badge of honor, nor is it something to brag about. It's despicable, and I'm a fucking idiot for letting that happen. For taking that time away from my child. More time away from him. Because when I got out of prison, you guys, I promised that baby of mine, that Matthew, that beautiful boy, he's so beautiful. My kids are beautiful. Gosh darn it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael. I look at my kids today, right? And not one thing in the world will take me away from them. And I feel so bad, you guys, because my son, Matt, for a long time, 8 years of his life, I was addicted. 8 long years. And you know what? I look at my little one, and although I'm happy that he'll never see me like that, I feel sad for my son, Matt. But when I got home from prison, while I was in prison, I told my son, I will be the best mom you'll ever watch. And I'm that type of person, when I say something, I mean it wholeheartedly. My word is my bond. Listen, this platform here is full of bullshit artists. I was definitely going to throw a monkey wrench in there. Like, surprise, here's something a little refreshing for you guys. Here's some reality. Here's somebody that's going to be 100% with you. And you know what? I was once told I shouldn't. I was once told that I shouldn't be as real, and I shouldn't speak what's on my mind. What services am I going to do to somebody by being fake to them? That's like peasing people. I'm not here to pease anybody. I'm here to be me, and I'm here to fucking hopefully help somebody. And I don't want a goddamn thing for it either. Because if the biggest payback for me would be somebody, like I do get. Once in a while, we have a guy in here. His name is Chris Sir1. And he will pop in from time to time. I don't know. I don't think he's here tonight. But he says, I'm still sober because of you. And I have to remind him, oh, you do all the hard work. I'm here for support, and I gave you that little push. And sometimes it helps when people believe in people. So, and I always tell you guys, if I can do that, if I can get clean, anybody can. And it's not hard to get sober. The hard part is staying sober. Because believe you me, I've been through some pretty fucked up things after I put those drugs away. Yeah. All right, you guys. So one of my best friend's birthday is today also. So happy birthday, Maggie. Happy birthday, Jackie Jacks. I love you, my love, dearly. So I'm going to go see my girls. And I want to say thank you, guys. Hopefully, you guys get a little better understanding of why I'm so emotional when I talk about my dad, or when I'm doing reaction videos, because when I close my eyes, I can feel and see that music. And I can also put me there. And I can also be reminded of songs. The songs that I'm hearing remind me of certain things in my life. So Vic Miller, geez, oh Pete's, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. And I know that some people out there are struggling. I know. Believe me, I know. I've struggled the hardest. And it is the most helpless feeling ever. It really is. But when I see those comments from people, like from my Falling in Reverse videos back then, from church, the Tom McDonald church, that video, you guys, I still get comments on that daily. The comments on there are the most beautiful things in the world. And then there are some that I get where you can sense the helplessness. And if I see a comment like that, and I do see my comments, you guys. I do see them. I can't ignore those people if they're crying out for help. That's not in my DNA. But I'm like, okay, this is the greatest thing in the world, right? I can be myself with you guys, and you don't judge. So an addict, I'm no different from an addict. I just don't put substances into my body anymore. I once was that addict. That, if you see on the street looking a hot mess, smelling a hot mess. I used to be that person. So no matter who you see on YouTube, they all have a past. A lot of them don't want to be forthcoming, and that's okay. They don't have to be. But I don't have anything to lose. And I have a lot of people to help people. That's what I have to gain by this. And hopefully y'all will see why I'm a crying goddamn mess all the time on my videos. And you'll understand why. So I have to thank everybody who commented on the 5-Finger Death Punch videos. I have to thank the people who comment on the church video, on the Falling in Reverse from way back when. So crazy when I see those comments from videos for a year ago. That takes some balls to put yourself out there like that. And it was so funny because this girl, she goes, I've never once got an answer back from somebody on YouTube. She goes, I've commented a lot on people's YouTube channels, and never once has anybody responded to my comment. And I just thought that was the most, what? And it's sad. So, there's my double-edged sword. Can I answer them all? No. But if you see a little heart by it, I've seen it, okay? I might not be able to reply because I got a bazillion of them. But those ones that really need my attention, those are what I need to spend time on. So, all right, you guys. I really appreciate you all. And I think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread for letting me vent and letting me do this. And hopefully, I pray that I could save somebody. Because I remember what it was like to be there. I'm a crying mess. All right, you guys. It's possible. Just look at me. All right, I see you guys. If you guys are, I'll put a community post out, a poll. If you want some more, just go ahead on the community post and answer there. All right, guys. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another's. Take care of yourself. Number one. It's not selfish. It's not selfish. It's not selfish to love yourself and take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Love thyself. I'm telling you what, we only got one life. All right, guys. Love you all. Just chin. If you need me, comment on this video or reach out to me on Instagram or something. All right?